It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
I want to talk about the importance of good credit. And I figured the way we do this, the Money Guy style, is that we would not only just talk about some of the components, we talk about good behaviors just in general in credit, because I know that a lot of our listeners, you guys avoid credit as much as you possibly can. So I want to encourage that. I like people paying off their debts, being out of as much debt as possible. So if we can throw some anecdotal information in there to also give you some education, we're going to make sure that we do it. So the first thing is interest rates are obviously impacted by your credit rating. And then the reason that is because credit rating is used to predict your financial responsibility. That's why this is coming into play outside of just debt. So if you think about low-lying fruit, of course, interest rates for all debt, whether we're talking about credit cards, whether we're talking about auto loans or even mortgages. Now, I want to share some love on the fact of credit cards. We want you paying those off monthly.
Sure.
I mean, I understand there's going to be there's a lot of convenience to using credit cards. There's even, especially when you're traveling internationally, there's a lot of travel benefits. So credit cards have some benefits, but remember, don't really treat them as an ongoing debt issue. They have horrible interest rates. It's very damaging to your long-term financial independence. So make sure you're paying off your credit cards monthly, but the credit rating definitely impacts the interest rates.
And so what you're saying, if there are lines of credit like an auto loan or like a home loan where you are not paying it off monthly, it's something that you're stretching out, how good your credit is affects how good the rate is, affects how much you actually pay for what your mortgage payment is or what your car payment is, right?
Yeah, you might be paying 13.99% versus paying 21%, but still definitely punishing and punitive, but better than it's somebody who has bad credit. Auto loans, we try to tell people, obviously your credit rating is going to impact your auto loan rate, but try to pay off your auto loans within 36 months. I don't care if you take the 48 or 60 months because that gets you the 0.9% that some of the car manufacturers will offer you, but try to have it paid off within 36 months so you don't get those negative equity situations. Mortgages, we like to see people be completely debt-free by the time you are retired. So if you are quickly approaching financial independence or what you perceive as financial independence and leaving the workforce, let's try to get you out of debt as fast as possible since you are quickly approaching. But those things definitely come into play with your credit rating on what interest rates you get. So let's talk about the non-debt impact of credit.
And I think those were pretty common sense to me. It kind of made sense. Some of these next ones, Brian, I was kind of surprised because I don't think I knew that your credit or your credit score affected a lot of these next little bullet points that you threw out there.
So this was, let's talk about stuff we probably do think about, like landlords. I mean, it is not uncommon. Landlords will use your credit rating to determine if they rent to you, because think about what do most landlords do? Most of them are looking at you as paying their debt obligations. So they are in some ways lending you money by giving you use of their asset, their property. So they definitely want to know that how good you are at predictability of being good with your money and paying them their rent. The second, many employers now run a credit check as due diligence on employees. They want to make sure that they feel like that you're going to be a good employee that's going to, be responsible. If you're responsible with your finances, you're probably going to be responsible with the way you live your life. Sure. So they definitely are involved with that. Here's one this is probably the shock and awe for you, was insurance companies. Okay. Insurance companies, I'm talking about like your auto loans, your homeowner's insurance. You're like, well, what does my auto insurance matter what my credit is?
Because I'm not borrowing money to pay for my auto insurance.
No, but they want to know it because it's a predictor of behavior. No different than, I come from an accounting background. It is known CPAs get better insurance rates than a lot of people in the population. Why? Because we're boring. I mean, you don't see a lot of CPAs that are skydiving. So, it's just that it lowers the risk. The analytics show that we're kind of boring. We follow rules.
I'm hoping that we get at least maybe 3 or 4 emails from you guys out there that are CPAs that are like avid skydivers.
There's not many of those. If we get those, I'll be excited because that means the population of listeners is huge. Because if there's, say 4 in the world and 1 wrote us, that means we have a lot of CPAs listening to the show. But it does, getting back on what we're talking about, is that it is used to show a predictor of your behavior. And if you're a person who's keeping up with your finances, the insurance company are thinking that you're probably taking that type of mindset, proactive mindset, and avoiding risk and other things in your life. So They give you better insurance rates the better your credit is. So that definitely plays into it. Utility companies. If you've set up any utilities recently, you know one of the first things they go do is go, oh, we got to run a credit report on you to see if we have to collect a deposit. And what's great is when they say, and it's a pain, because here's what I always think is interesting, and this is a little bit of a sidebar. You're excited, especially when you're a first-time home buyer. Say you're a young person buying your first house. Right. You're so excited to buy your house. You're qualifying for the mortgage, but you have to be very careful, as we're going to get into, is not letting too many people ding your credit
before you close,
because it will lower your credit score,
right.
And that could impact you know what you get on the mortgage side, which we talked about in the first section. So you're already hearing how your utility company is going to be dinging your credit score to see if you have to do a deposit right before you close on this house. It probably doesn't make sense to go to Pottery Barn, load up and get a Pottery Barn credit card right before you close on that house too, because you're going to have a bunch of inquiries, as you'll find out in a minute. Doing too many inquiries in a short period of time makes the credit card companies and the credit agencies wonder, what's going on here? Right. Is this person in trouble? So definitely understand that the utility companies are going to run your credit, and you're hoping they don't ask for a deposit. If your score is good enough and your behavior is good enough, they won't put your money in this perpetual Groundhog Day where it's just sitting out there not working for anybody. So pay attention to the utilities.